In this video, I'll tell you why you shouldn't beat yourself up when you're stalled in your wargaming hobby, potential ways to get hobbying again, and the one thing that you shouldn't do, because it won't help. It's happened pretty much to all of us at some point. Sometimes you don't paint miniatures for a while. You don't build any minis or vehicles or terrain for a bit, right? Like maybe you still play some games, but maybe you don't. But you're certainly not hobbying, getting stuff done, right? It's even happened to me, admittedly, not for a long time due to, making videos and being involved in the hobby in many weird and wonderful ways as I am these days. But back before the channel started in 2013, I certainly had my share of hobby dry spells. Most of us do. It's pretty normal. So you have all these fancy paints, all these different hobby tools and brushes and whatnot, and maybe, just maybe, you even have a little backlog of a few unbuilt kits, I mean, probably not, but that would be crazy, wouldn't it, right? Yeah. Well, some folks will call that backlog a pile of shame, but I like to call it a pile of potential. It seems less negative at the very least, right? Also, it's always there and available whenever, and if you think that you're, never going to use a specific kit in your pile, you can sell it. And don't grow the pile. Okay, just sell stuff, but we'll get to that in a bit. Your pile and the length of time since you last hobbied can make you feel bad, especially when you see your friends or people on social media finishing projects and you're not. Social media can be a real bummer if you look at it that way, others succeeding while you're, finding yourself to be stalled. But it doesn't have to be that way. Social media doesn't have to be all negative. It's amazing, but true. Social media is best when you use it for inspiration rather than beating yourself up. And again, we'll get to that in a bit. The fact of the matter is that most people have busy lives, right? Work takes up a lot of your time. Family and children can take up a lot of your time, and chores, yard work, or whatever. Being an adult is tough sometimes. These different responsibilities will fluctuate to some degree back and forth, but they're mostly always there. Always, pretty much. Always needing your attention. Maybe you'll get more free time next month, and then you'll be able to do more hobbying then. There's always that hope, sure, but sometimes it just doesn't work out for a while. And sometimes it's not a problem with time. You've got plenty of free time, you lucky person. But maybe it's a problem with interest. The world's full of hobbies, and sometimes other things will take your focus, thereby using up your free time. Maybe now is the season for a sport that you like to play, or it's the right time of year for fishing or camping or other outdoorsy stuff that you might be into. Or maybe it's nothing like that at all. Maybe you're just tired from all of the other responsibilities you have and you'd rather decompress with movies or books or video games or something. No one, including yourself, should judge you for not painting your miniatures or building your miniatures or playing your miniatures games or whatever. Remember, this is a hobby you do for enjoyment. It's a leisure activity. Leisure is important in your life. It's important to your mental health. But it's not helpful if that leisure activity brings you stress because you're not doing it seriously enough or the right way or whatever, right? I've tried to get into certain hobbies in the past and found eventually that they gave me more stress than they relieved stress. So I got out of them. One of the many great things about tabletop wargaming is that the models and the games and all that stuff don't really expire. You can still build and paint a miniature from 20 years ago. Heck, Games Workshop is still selling miniatures from 20 years ago, So if you want to hold on to the miniatures that you have and just keep them someplace for however long it takes for you to come back and paint them, then that's totally your choice. depending on how your paints are contained, right? Like dropper bottles certainly last longer than pots, right? Depending on how they're contained and stored, you'll probably be able to use them too. You'll probably come back to it, or maybe you won't. Maybe the reason you're not hobbying is actually because you just don't really enjoy it. It's not for you, maybe it's not your jam. You thought it was, but it wasn't. And that's okay too. The other great thing about tabletop war games is that you can usually get some amount of money back out of the models and the kits that you've purchased. You can sell your stuff on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or at like a swap meet at your local, game store or wherever. And if the stuff is Games Workshop stuff, then there's a good chance that it's currently out of stock anyway, and it'll be easy to sell. If you find yourself in this situation, right, please make sure to not beat yourself up about it. Like I said before, maybe you'll come back to it. It'll be waiting for you. Admittedly, the game edition that you were playing before might have changed. And if it was a Games Workshop game, it will almost certainly have changed. But the models will still be good to go. Even if you don't like the game anymore and you want to play something else, the models will still be good for other games, like miniatures agnostic games, for example. Or if you know you're not coming back, then sell. But there's one very important thing that you should really pay attention to here if you find yourself stalled out in the hobby. Stop buying hobby stuff. If you haven't built or painted or played in months or even longer, but you find yourself still like buying new kits or new games or new terrain or new paints or new brushes and tools and all that kind of stuff, then you're only making it worse for yourself. Simply buying more hobby stuff pretty much never kickstarts your hobby interest again, and it only runs the risk of you feeling worse down the road. I get it, I do. Buying things is fun and easy if you have the money. You get that kind of instant dopamine hit, or maybe it's endorphins. I'm not a scientist, so I don't really know. But for many folks, buying things is kind of fun and feels good. And it is generally way easier and quicker than building or painting the actual kit that you're buying. So, they don't call it retail therapy for nothing. I've bought things to make myself feel better in the past. It's the way that we've kind of been raised by society, I think. But it almost never works long term. And unfortunately, buying things can be easy if you don't have the money, too, right? Credit card companies are absolutely happy to make it very easy for you to buy your hobby supplies and miniatures and terrain and whatever on credit with a credit card. Please don't do that at all, right? Unless you're going to pay it off like right away just to get like airline miles or loyalty points or whatever, through your credit card company. That's a different story. I made a video years and years ago about not going into debt for your hobby. Pachow. And it's still very true to this day. In almost every situation, buying that new thing will not help your hobby and get you building and painting again, right? Instead, it'll add to your frustration with your pile of potential being so big, yet not actually reaching any potential. So you shouldn't add to your frustration by buying more stuff that you aren't painting anyways. That honestly won't help. And the dopamine or endorphins or warm fuzzies or whatever will wear off pretty quickly. If I need to get myself motivated to hobby, I look for more inspiration instead. Like I mentioned earlier, social media can be a bummer sometimes, but it can also be a great source of inspiration as well. Make sure to look at cool projects on platforms like Instagram, if you can find any actual content between all the reels and the ads that are on there these days, or on, YouTube. And sure, it might be something amazing from a super talented painter who's been painting for years and years and years, and you can't paint like that. Probably because maybe you just started or maybe you're just not to that level or whatever. But you can ask yourself, can I do something kind of like maybe even just a little part of what I see here? Maybe it's just like the really cool sword, right? Can I try to make my next sword look even a little bit like that? Look for your spark. If that kind of stuff intimidates you more than it inspires you, then maybe read a bunch of lore for the game that you play, if there's lore out there available, to look for more inspiration to build or paint. many of the scratch-built terrain pieces that I've made over the years, and even the first 3D modeled terrain piece that I've ever designed and then actually printed, many of these things are inspired from the terrain that I see in video games. There's all kinds of places to find inspiration to get you hobbying again. You just have to figure out what kind of inspiration works best for you. But what if new models come out that I have to have, right? Like my hobby and army have stalled, and now they're releasing new models for my army, and I need them to live. What then? Well, first of all, calm down. Just simmer. Secondly, pretty much every miniatures company out there will advertise a big new project, or new product like that to let you know in advance that it's coming so you can prepare your wallet, most likely. But if you gotta have it, then prepare by kind of priming your hobby pump by painting something else that you already own that's unfinished for that current project or army, right? If you finish that, then maybe your momentum will stay up for the new thing that's about to come out, and then you make the decision. If you perceive your pile of potential as a pile of shame, then I assure you, adding more miniatures or terrain or paints or whatever to the pile will not help you to feel better about the whole situation. Honestly, even if you perceive it as a pile of potential, adding more to it probably won't help to get you painting again. If you're the type of person that just likes to collect unopened wargaming stuff, you buy it and then you never open it and you leave it on a shelf, then I guess maybe that'll make you feel good, at least if you go down that road. But for the rest of us who, in theory, buy wargaming stuff to build it and paint it and play it, stop until the inspiration comes back. Is yours a pile of potential or a pile of shame? Is your hobby stalled right now? And what do you think might be causing that? Do you find yourself buying more hobby stuff when you have hobby stuff at home? And how do you get inspired to get back into your sort of hobby mojo, as it were? Let us all know down in the comments below. It can help everyone. And while you're down there, maybe some depressmentation of the like button will give you some inspiration as well. I know it inspires me. And subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one every single Friday. It's free. Thanks for watching.